we've got something slightly different than last time. Although, considering this is officially, I guess, a TCG channel, it's not that different. It's just a different game today. We've got Modern Horizons 3, one of the most ridiculously pushed sets in Magic history. I've got a bit of a different recording setup today. The lighting is a bit different. I've positioned the mic closer to the table so that you can maybe hear more of the card sounds, hopefully, because I think those are really nice. And I've added this just as a nice reminder that I am in fact non-binary and go by they them. So, without further ado, let's get right into this wonderful pack. Hoping to pull something interesting, not even great or exciting, just something interesting. Let's dig right in. Alright, so we've got ourselves an art card. I don't know what the point of these is, honestly. I don't think anyone actually collects them, but whatever. Let's just put that over here. Nice bit of decoration. And then I think these packs have the cool stuff in the front, so we can start from the back. Nope. Okay, so we've got a foil, Detective's Phoenix, a 2/2 Phoenix enchantment creature for 2 and a red, with Bestow Red and Collect Evidence 6. One of those all-time memorable keywords for sure. If you don't remember, to collect evidence, you must exile cards from your graveyard that have a mana value of 6 or greater. It's got flying and haste, or if you bestow it, it gives the enchanted creature flying, haste, and +2/+2. And you can use the bestow ability from your graveyard, because it's a phoenix, and that's just what they do. That's interesting. So yes, objective has been fulfilled for the day. Okay, so the cool stuff's at the back, so we can just flip directly into one of the best draw spells in the set, with one of the coolest, most metal album cover looking artworks. That is a cool way to start this pack, or, well, it would have been. We've got Unfathomable Truths, a devoid instant for a 4 and a blue. Draw 3 cards and create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature that you can sacrifice for 1 colorless. I imagine this is pretty good and limited. Although I haven't actually played limited with this set, because frankly the price of these boosters is a little high for my liking. We've got Malevolent Rumble, another absolute banger common. It's a sorcery for 1 and a green, where you reveal the top 4 cards of your library, and then you can put a permanent from among them into your hand, and put the rest in your graveyard. So this enables graveyard stuff. It gives you selective card draw, and then you get to make one of those wonderful Eldrazi spawns. So basically, this costs 1 green to draw a card, except you can pick the card and set up your graveyard. And also you make a token, which you can sack for 1, which is why I say it costs 1 green. It's pretty great. Accursed Marauder. This is really just a best-of pack, isn't it? We're getting all the great commons, which this is basically Fleshbag Marauder, but cheaper, which is just, it's a 2/1 zombie warrior for 1 black, and when it enters, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. So worst case, you probably sacrifice your Accursed Marauder to its own effect, and then your opponent, or realistically opponents, plural, will sacrifice something of greater value. And I say opponents, plural, because let's be honest, 90% of this game is Commander now. Next up, we've got Expel the Unworthy. Not a great card, but but obviously Modern Horizons, so not a bad card either. Although not as playable as the others. We've got a Contaminated Landscape, which, again, if you think about it from the lens of Commander being the only format, these are cool. These go on pretty much any 3-color deck, unless you're super optimized on your mana base. But you know, for Modern Horizons, these don't do much in Modern, but that's just how it goes. Now we've got a Riddlegate Gargoyle, which is an energy card. Not my favorite mechanic, I'll be honest. It is a 2/2 artifact creature gargoyle, costing a white and a blue, with flying. So, at base, this is a 2-mana 2/2 with flying, which is pretty great. For limited play, anyway. In most sets, you'd get a Wind Drake and be happy. And when it enters, you get 3 energy. And whenever you attack, you can pay 2 energy to give one of your creatures lifelink until end of turn. So this is probably quite good and limited, I would imagine. We've got Scurry of Gremlins. The printing on this looks oddly pale. I don't know if that comes across on camera, but it looks a little washed out. This creates 2 gremlins when it enters, and then you get energy equal to the number of creatures you control, and you can pay 4 energy to give your creatures +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. Probably decent and limited, probably not good in any constructed formats. We've got Mog Mob, a 3/3 goblin for 3 red mana, which you can sacrifice to deal 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. So this is just 3 Mog Fanatics in 1. Quite literally, that's what that is. I really like Mog Fanatic, although I have been told it's not very playable these days. Next up, we've got a Sundering Eruption. That is very cool. It's one of the, let me show you the back, modal double-faced lands in the set, which you can pay 3 life to have it enter untapped as basically just a non-basic mountain. And if you choose to cast it on the other side, though, it costs you 2 and a red. You destroy a land, which is kind of frowned upon in Commander, but whatever. Honestly, destroying 1 land, perfectly acceptable in my book. Should be done more, frankly, with the power of lands nowadays. And then they get to replace it with a basic land and put it onto battlefield tapped. And then the main thing, and the reason why I put this in a lot of red decks, creatures without flying can't block this turn. Which basically just means if you're running a red combat heavy deck, rather, you overrun them. This is a great card. Then we've got Brea, Ethereum Shaper. The less we say about her, the better. Frankly, this is a ridiculous card. And I can tell you, I can feel another card behind this, which means we're getting something else between our mythic and our foil. Don't know what's going to happen here. Let's find out. Let's find out the dramatic way. Can't wait for this to be a token. Oh, there's 2 more cards. What on earth is going on? One of these is probably a land, actually. Okay, we've got an Eldrazi Linebreaker. A 3/3 Eldrazi for 1, a colorless and red with the Void and Trample. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of Eldrazi you control. Probably very powerful and limited with all the Eldrazi token generation in this set. That is very interesting. And then I bet the last one's a land, so don't get excited for whatever's coming up. Oh wow, that's another mythic. So that's what 2 mythics and a rare in 1 pack. That is wild. And this is Necro Dominance, a legendary enchantment costing black, black, black. Starts with the infamous line, skip your draw step, which is how you know it's going to be a good one. And then it continues to say, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life, and then draw that many cards. Your maximum hand size is 5. If a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So this is a fixed version of Necropotence. Doesn't let you set up your graveyard. It means you have to discard if you draw your whole deck. But I think this is probably still a really good card in Constructed. So overall, I would say that was a very good pack. We have some absolute banger commons in here for Commander play. Although, frankly, I think I've got all the Commander decks I want at this point. Maybe I'll show off a few of those at some point. That could be a video. Or probably 5. We've got a banger Mythic for Constructed play. An Evergreen Commander, which is also a Mythic for reasons beyond my understanding. An interesting rare, which I'll take an interesting card. And a banger modal double-faced card. And then we've got some other cards, as it tends to go when you open a booster. Overall, I really enjoy doing that. I don't know what the cards are worth. I don't care if I profited on opening this. I open packs to have fun, to look at some cards, appreciate some art along the way maybe, although I didn't do much of that day. My favorite art, I think I mentioned it when I opened it, is the Glimpse the Impossible. It just looks